so much audience response. That always helps an experience. But I was just so floored. It was so incredible, because on set things are very basic, and and like this is sort of a cliche with horror movies. Not that this is quite horror, but it's not actually scary on set. You have to pretend. But so seeing it and seeing it filled out, I just thought it was well done. Well done.
Yeah, I agree. I was really impressed with what Leigh and the post team and FX team came up with all the augmentation and all of that kind of what normally can feel a little contrived because it's kind of the cart leading the horse. I felt like Leigh just kind of went with what we did and built and allowed that our gestures to dictate his design and art. And I was just saying that the cityscapes were so, and this is the greatest, highest compliment I can give Leigh, so Verhoeven-y and its RoboCopness and fully realized future without talking about it. So that was my favorite part. That was the biggest surprise, was just how many layers of technology were put on this, and you can, because that's where we're headed. We're headed towards augmentation and an AR type of existence. Well, I think there was, to speak on Betty's character and my character, there was a kinship in our relationship to technology. I think it was pretty clear both of us preferred the old ways, were somewhat more analog, definitely more analog than the existence around us, or the society around us, and I think that's important, because let's be honest, there's a lot of us out there who don't like where it's going, or don't. There'll always be the, I remember when we had, Snapchat, you know what I mean? We'll always have part of us who want what worked, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I think that's what springboards us, forward into the story, is this love of an analog existence, and that it's actually okay. But, that is what is so dynamic in Leigh's story, is that it's a man who's forced to not just have a relationship with technology that's new, but become technology.
I think where we are right now with technology, and it obviously evolving more and more, it's because it makes life easy for us, and it makes perhaps in some circumstances safer, and so there's that constant debate, and with me as a person, not as my character, she's very clear where she stands as far as technology goes. But as me, I think if it's very complicated, and yeah, what do you do when you have nanobots that can cure cancer? You're gonna inject someone with that.
Yeah, technology's making a lot of things easier. It's all about ease. But I'm not sure things should be so easy. I'm not sure where this river is heading. Like, hey, I've got an app on my phone and you can click a few things and all your groceries arrive. You don't have to drive to the store anymore. And it's like, okay, great. How does that, what's the end goal there? Am I not leaving the house at a certain point because everything comes to me? I go to school. I look at a screen instead of going to a physical school. It's all about examining what the end point of all this is. Is it to make us just stay in our house and and never leave, so that never interact with another human?
Yeah, and live until we're 200.
Yeah, we'll be 200 years old talking to our pet robot.
Yeah. VR goggles.
Exactly. Just sitting in the corner on a specialized wheelchair, like, kill me. There are nanobots that keep me alive. Somebody cut my throat. I don't have an action background, but I'm an action movie fan. I grew up in the suburbs of Melbourne and was going to my local video store, and they certainly didn't stock Godard films. I was watching Die Hard like every other teenager at my school, and I just love action movies. I was kind of nervous about it going into it, like, what are the rules of action movies? How do I need to do this? But I think what you need to do is just have an idea of what you want to achieve, and if you can communicate that to a great stunt team, they can help you realize it. And then I also want to give credit to the actors. These guys did a lot of stunt work. I mean, people always say that, oh, they did their own stunts, but in this case, these guys really did. Betty was doing a lot of driving, Logan, all that stuff with him moving and fighting. He worked with the choreographer, he worked with the stunt team. So they're the ones who really did it. I can't sit here and be like, yes, I directed a great action scene. It was really the work that Logan did that I think, and the other actors involved in the fight scenes did, that brought originality to it.
It all starts with the departments that Leigh accrued. And another apartment was just someone to build this sentient being, which was a guy named Darren Inkster, who we got, who not only helped me build the neutrality of his body, but maintain it. So he was there through all of those days, and we would really harshly scrutinize frames. So I'm not an actor who needs to see playback necessarily, except for technical. But we were there watching playback, just watching our hands. If it's if one hand is if it's not symmetrical, it breaks the silhouette down very quickly. And that's how we approached it with the fights, knowing that we're going to choreograph these fights with the idea that we will not put Chris, my stunt double, in. He's only there as a safety net, that it's going to be me. And so we wanted to also have two stories going on, an emotional story up top that's just watching it, while a very clinical and unemotional robot, a sentient being, is committing some very ghastly, horrible physical things. So that was the idea. It was a lot of rubbing a belly and patting a head. Is it rubbing a belly and patting a head, or is it patting a head and rubbing a belly? It's patting a head and rubbing a belly.
I love working with them. The company's very small. You would think that a company that makes these huge hit movies would have many, many more employees, but they really do keep it small and familial. Everybody knows each other. When you're there, it really does feel kind of like this strange repertory company of, you see the same faces, not just in the offices, but in the crew, and they keep actors coming back all the time. So I love that about it, and I love the creative freedom they give you. You can just make your film. A lot of times in Hollywood, making a film is really just talking about a film. The talking goes on and on. They have meetings about when to take their next meeting, and the process goes on, and then there's the casting process. It's all very long lead, and you really have to stick with it. With Blumhouse, you can actually make something. You can write it, and within a few months you can be shooting. And the caveat is that you don't have a lot of resources or money, but as long as you write to that, as long as you write a movie that can be made within those constraints, I think it's a great experience, and I just love working with them. Okay, I have one that I get in trouble for all the time, and people have physically attacked me over this, which is that I like Oasis more than the Beatles. I recognize that the Beatles are a much bigger cultural force, and they've changed the world and they've changed pop culture. All that is not in dispute. But if you're asking me what I would listen to in my car, I would choose Oasis. Which is weird. That's an unpopular. People have tried to attack me physically. Friends of mine have been like, "You're an idiot," and gotten really mad with me about that. So there you go.